Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of Soul Light Reflections. This is now episode 3, which is kind of wild that I'm already recording a third episode within 4 days of recording the original. It just feels so aligned and so exciting. So I'm like really diving deep into this while I'm in that creative space. Because I firmly believe that we go through these ebbs and flows as far as health and creativity and abundance and connection and healthy isolation and boundaries and all these like beautiful experiences that we have in this human life. They go in ebbs and flows. And right now I'm in that creative flow and I'm taking advantage of it so that hopefully I can do a baby stockpile of some of these episodes so that once I get to the point where maybe I might not have as much of that creative flow going, I still have something to share with the world. So something that I was reflecting on is that I realized that this podcast is a really cool open space for me to have these conversations that I typically like have with people in my close inner circle and in daily life, but I get to have these conversations with you. Some of you listening to this podcast I know personally, some of you I only know through social media, and some of you I don't know of yet. Hopefully you'll introduce yourself at some point. But it's an opportunity for me to share with you from my own experience as well as from this space of soul wisdom, of universal wisdom that flows through me from spirit. And it's an opportunity for you to be exposed to new ideas, to new ways of thinking and being and feeling and doing. And I'm just really grateful for this space, that this is something that I get to do. And I want you to remember that this is not just my space, my podcast. This is a space that we co-create together. We create this beautiful place where you get to do introspection and find insights within yourself and find ways to better connect with yourself. I get this cathartic experience where I get to share my own experience. I get to utilize my skills of storytelling and of guidance. And I also in turn gain a little bit out of this as well, right? Because this is something that feels so important to my soul, to be a light on other people's paths. And although unfortunately the hard part about podcasting is that you don't always see or hear the people that you are guiding, they tend to be kind of quote unquote quiet followers. At least I know that it's helping someone out there every single episode. That is my biggest goal. Something I want you to remember is that energy has no boundaries. It doesn't know time. It doesn't know space. Yes, we can create boundaries with energy, but that's not what I'm saying. My point is that energy is always around us. And so you listening to this right now, you're in the energy that I'm in while I'm recording this. Even though you're not in the same physical space with me or the same time as me, by listening to this and by interacting with this content, you're actually sharing space and sharing energy with me. And I appreciate it. It's really cool to be able to have these conversations with you, even if we aren't in the same physical space or time. So something that felt aligned for this episode is to share some things that I've written down over the past year or so. For a little bit of a backstory, I guess I should give you that first. I am someone who has tons and tons of ideas and soul downloads and insights that come through on a daily basis throughout every single day. And I end up like writing down in notes in my phone these like ideas that will come to mind. And so I have thousands, literally over 2,500 notes in my phone that are connected to my computer that I'm looking at right now. And it feels aligned to, on another episode, share some of the profound soul downloads that have come through and kind of talk about the experience of channeling source, spirit, God, whatever you want to call it. But today, what I want to do is share with you some of the insights that have come through from the conscious side of my being rather than like the spirit side of my being. So what I mean by that is some of this guidance is a lot more tangible than some of the guidance that comes through me from spirit, because sometimes that guidance is a little bit more vague because there's not always like English human words to express what it is that we need to tap into at different moments of life. I hope that makes sense to you. So I'm kind of just going to go through my notes and share a couple of like these more recent insights that have come through. And hopefully there's something that pops out at you and that you can take with you after listening to this podcast. So this is a caption that I actually wrote out last month that feels really aligned to share. And I know that it's aligned because now I'm getting chills all over my body. So I'm just going to share it. It says, just to be clear, I don't know what I'm doing. None of us really do. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I don't know what the future holds. I don't even see an end in sight for the chaos that I'm currently experiencing behind the scenes. It's fucking scary sometimes, and the beauty between the cracks keeps us going. And sometimes all you can do is sit right in the middle of the mess and just repeat, here I am. Because eventually, at some point, things are going to be different. And we don't necessarily know what different looks like, but it will happen. And then there will be new adventures, new struggles, new interests, new chaos. And right here, right now, will feel like a distant story. All this to say, if you feel like you don't have it all figured out, it's because you're in a human experience and we're not supposed to. Literally, the only thing that we can control is the intention we live with, sharing our story authentically, leading with compassion and love always, keeping a good person, helping and laughing and listening to the people around you, and keep doing the things on your heart. So I'm just going to continue going through some of these. To me, it kind of feels like if you were to like go into a poetry book that someone read and you're just kind of flipping through the pages and they all speak to you differently. I feel like that's what this episode is going to be. So the next one that I want to share is about feeling important. Everyone wants to feel important in some way, to someone, for some reason. But my question for you is, how can you make yourself feel important today? In the things that you do for yourself and in the things that you do for others. Because everyone wants to feel like someone looks up to them. Everyone wants to be the person that your younger self would look up to. And I want you to reflect for yourself on how you can make yourself feel important to yourself. That might start with something as simple as going to do your makeup or doing your hair or putting on a cute outfit or walking with a little bit more confidence down the street or listening to your favorite song that makes you feel on top of the world. Or it might mean something like doing something really kind for someone else that has been on your heart that you've been wanting to help them out with. Other people don't always know that we put so much value on our relationship, our friendship to them. A lot of times we tend to like assume that they know, and we don't necessarily go out of our way to show because we're all busy. We all have lives. We all have different priorities. But it is really important to show them how much you care and how much you support them and how much you love them. So I encourage you today in some way to make someone else feel like they are important to you. Remind them how important they are to you. Take a second right now while you're listening to this, if you can, to text someone how important they are to you. To text someone how grateful you are that they are in your life. And that's literally how we raise the vibration of the collective, this humanity, is one interaction at a time, both with yourself and with each other. Because the more you focus on raising your own vibration, the more you shine, the brighter your light becomes, and the more you're able to share that with the people around you. And then they're able to share that with the people around them. And it's a complete ripple effect. And same goes for the opposite. If you're having a bad day and you really let it get to you and you really let it show outwardly and you just cannot get over it and you're letting that take hold of your entire day, that starts negatively reflecting on other people, and then they take that with them through their day. Think about like if I was having a bad day and I go out on a walk with my dog and someone was trying to come in my apartment building door at the same time and I just slam it on them. And they're like, oh God, that was kind of rude. And then when they get up to their apartment, they're kind of like already on edge because that was like a really weird, really rude occurrence. So then whoever it is that they live with, they start being rude to them. And then the person that they live with is like, what the heck? And then they are affected by that. And then their vibration lowers. And so I just like, as I'm talking about this, visualize each of us with like, our vibration can be like a battery, right? Our entire being can be like fully green, that battery. And then it starts draining and draining and draining once we have some of these interactions and once we allow these interactions to affect us like that. But if we are continually finding ways to build up our battery, raise the bar a little bit more with every interaction around us, with every interaction with ourselves, then it doesn't deplete anyone's battery. All of our batteries are either able to stay like at least alive or as high as possible. So in that particular situation, if something bad happened to me, I could have the awareness of, okay, this isn't going to ruin my day. I'm not going to let this affect other people. So I go out and I go to walk my dog, and then instead I hold the door for the person walking in the apartment building, and they go, oh my gosh, thank you. And then when they get home, they interact with the person that they live with, and that person is able to build up their kind of, energetic battery a little bit more, because even if they weren't having the greatest day, the person that came home is able to lighten the load a little bit for them. And so I guess that brings me on to another point that's actually not in these notes that I've been going over and kind of diving into to share with you. But I recently was talking, I think on social media, about this idea of artificial versus real ways of filling your battery or your energetic body. So artificial ways to give yourself energy would be something like caffeine, would be something like staring at blue light, like your phone or your computer, because that wakes up our brain. Eating sugary foods or snacks or drinks that give you a really high energy spike, but then you usually crash afterwards. Exposing yourself to high stress situations or listening to something like the news, which, sorry, disclaimer, I literally avoid the news at all costs and refuse, because the way I see it, everything out there is going to be happening whether or not I listen to it or not. I am not about to get myself all hyped up about it for literally no fucking reason. Sorry, that's my take. Anyway, another artificial way and really unsustainable, toxic way of gaining energy is creating a situation, like confrontation. And some ways to gain energy in a very real, sustainable, beautiful way are things like nootropic herbs and functional mushrooms that are good for the brain, good for the body, give you energy without a crash. Contrary to caffeinated energy drinks or high amounts of coffee, something like lucid hydration can be a really good substitute. Yes, that's absolutely a shameless plug for my company. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend. Like, it is seriously a game changer. Another way of gaining real energy for your system is something like going outside. Even if it's not sunny out, go outside. Another way is getting in nature if you have access, or just going by a tree or putting your feet to the grass if you're able to. Another way is movement, dancing, yoga, flowing, working out, whatever calls to you, riding a bike, going on a walk. Another really good way is getting high on your own supply. I'm talking breath work, folks. Breath work is so fucking powerful. Using your own body to literally get high. It is so cool. I am not a breathwork facilitator. However, I have many friends who are, and I do breathwork on my own, and it is absolutely incredible. When you do some like high intensity breathwork, it's so amazing how much energy it can bring to your system. So maybe take inventory of the ways that you typically gain energy and just be aware. That's not to say that you like can't drink coffee, right? Or how dare you watch the news if you like to do that sort of thing. It just means be a little bit more aware of when you're doing these things, why you're doing them. Am I doing this with the intention to get energy? Am I doing this with the intention to genuinely learn? Am I doing this with the intention of, I just really like coffee? Is there a better way to do things? We all have our quote unquote guilty pleasures, right? And we all have to make our compromises. Like, I am a very, very holistic person, but I fucking love pizza, okay? It is my favorite food. I love pizza. But you know what? You best believe that most of the time I don't drink. I don't smoke cigarettes or anything. I work out almost daily. I take my daily supplements. I drink enough water. I am good about my mental health practices. Like all of these things are things that are important to me and non-negotiables. But then we've got our compromises, right? So if you're like, girl, I am not giving up coffee. Nice try. Totally fine. Literally not telling you what to do. That is not the point of this podcast episode or this podcast in general or the way that I operate as a human or as a coach. I have never, ever, and every single one of my past clients can attest to this, I have never, ever been like, do this, don't do that, take out this, da-da-da. It's like, hey, you could try doing this. You could try doing that. Might work for you, might not. Like, let's figure it out together. So I don't want you to take any of these tips as like, how dare you do this or anything like that. Please don't, because no one's perfect. Like we literally are living in modern day society where there's so much shit out there that is like clouding your judgment and your system. And you just got to kind of take what you can and leave what you don't want anymore, if that makes sense. All right. So that got off on a little bit of a different tangent than I thought it would, but that's totally fine. You know, this podcast is all about fuck the rules. We're just going to do what feels aligned. And apparently that's what needed to come through today. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick little scroll to like, let's see what was happening 1 year ago. Let's go back in my notes to September 2023 and let's just see what we can come up with, some sort of wisdom that I can impart on you. Ooh, I really like this one. So I had written down, it's so funny because a lot of these notes are like half ideas. And then I read it and I can sometimes come right back to the energy that I was in when I wrote it. And then other times I'm like, where was I going with that? I should have probably written a little more. But this one says, you'll probably be more productive when you're having fun with it. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, absolutely. Every single one of us has that inner child that literally just wants to have fun and play and dance and sing and do whatever it is that you did when you were a kid. And somewhere along the way, when we become adults, we like lose that, right? Because we're told like, you got to get the job, you got to go to college, you got to, buy the car, you got to buy the house and get the wife and have the kids and da-da-da. Like, wait a second, we can do those things, yeah, if that's important to you, but can we have fun with it, please? Like, why is everyone so goddamn serious? That's part of the reason that when I shifted my business, when I was like reigniting this passion within myself to create this new brand for myself, for my coaching business, when I stepped away from the autoimmune label, when I was ready to like start doing the coaching again, I started a brand new Instagram profile and I named it Playful Embodiment. Because in the last episode, I talked about embodiment and like what that means, like living in your purpose and being in that purpose rather than just like saying. It's like walking the talk, right? But play is the most important part of that. Being playful. Why can't we play more? I love this line. You'll probably be more productive when you're having fun with it. And then I wrote under that, dancing, flowing, laughing. It'll feel better, so you'll keep going. Oh God, sometimes I like look back at these notes and I'm like, come on, I wrote that. It's so true though. If you're having fun with it, you're probably going to want to keep going with it. If it's not fun, if it's literally just grueling and annoying and overwhelming and daunting, chances are you're not going to want to keep going with it. You're going to eventually give up or be burnt out or let go of it. So let's come back to igniting fun, getting excited about things. I've had this like rule for myself that I've always told my clients in the past to make something to get excited about every single day. So that could literally mean that like you're excited to make your coffee first thing in the morning, or you're excited for a certain meeting that you have the next day, or you're excited for an outfit you're going to wear, or you're excited because you get to see a person you haven't seen in a while, or you're excited because you have the day off. Find something to be excited about every single fucking day. Because even in the very, very depths of depression, I was doing that and it made it feel just a little bit better. And you know what? In those times, a little bit better feels a fucking lot better. Let's be real. Getting those little glimpses of hope feels really freaking good when you feel like there is nothing. This brings me into another note that I had written down when I was at Shambhala Music Festival in July this year. During that time, I had gotten so many downloads from Spirit about how important it was to let go and to lean into the idea that healing gets to be fun. Because I knew going into the weekend that, we were really there for a week, but I knew going into that festival weekend that there was a lot of healing that needed to be done, like underlying healing that I didn't really know about. Like my conscious being didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but my inner being was like, we got work to do. And then once we got there, it was just like, boom, full force, like knew that it was happening within my cells. And my brain kept trying to like analyze, like, okay, cool. Like, what is it that we're doing? What are we going to heal from? I almost, as I'm saying that, picture like, I've seen metaphors in like movies and shows, or like the movie Inside Out, for instance. Those little like characters that like supposedly live in your psyche that are like different, emotions and stuff. I feel like it's kind of like that, like a boardroom. And like my brain was coming into my like spiritual being and was like, okay, cool. Like what, like trying to take hold of the meeting. And like all of the spiritual parts of myself are looking at this like brain part, like this conscious part of myself being like, we got this. Like, you don't need to micromanage. Like, you can step away now. Like, just go take a break. That's what it felt like. And that's like the vision that I just got when I was starting to say this. So anyway, leaning into the idea that healing gets to be fun. It doesn't always have to be analyzed, because everything happening behind the scenes in your subconscious mind and your spiritual being is way more important than most of the things that we can actually consciously do. That feels important to slow down and say again. Everything happening behind the scenes in your subconscious, in your energy body, in your spiritual being is more important than most of the things that we can consciously do. Healing doesn't always have to have such like a specific intention. And sometimes, this is what I was feeling when I was at Shambhala, a bit more of like a vague intention is actually more beneficial. Because then the brain is less inclined to step in and try to like conceptualize and overanalyze and micromanage the process. And it allows that healing to just flow, to like let your energy body do the thing. Now, that's not to say you could just like, I don't know, like go around being a shitty person and assume that the healing's happening. No, I'm talking about like when we are putting ourselves in intentional spaces where we know that healing has the ability to happen. That's what I'm talking about for this. So for me, going to Shambhala Music Festival, one of my favorite places on this planet, I knew already from 2 times being there before that a lot of healing would happen, but I knew especially this year, my 3rd time, that it was going to be even more powerful. And I just trusted it. And from literally the first day that we got there on Wednesday, it was very loud from Spirit being like, stop overanalyzing already. Like, it is happening. Yes, absolutely. And I know that you feel that, but chill. Like, we got this. And sometimes you just have to trust that. Because if your intention is strong, if your intention is to heal, if your intention is to lead with love, if your intention is to have fun, Spirit loves when we have fun. God, the universe, our guides, they love when we have fun. Because guess what happens when we're having fun? We're at that high vibration again. It all comes back. I told you in the last episode. We are at a higher vibration when we're having fun, when we have a good intention, when we find the joy in everything, when we allow that childlike essence to happen. We're at a higher vibration, and that's where things start clicking and moving and shifting into place. And then we come out the other side being like, whoa. And I'll get into this on another episode. I got to write this down, but this was the catalyst for Max and my energies to unlock a whole new level and for us to jump into a brand new fucking reality that weekend at Shambhala. I'm going to have him come onto the podcast and we can like talk about it together because, oh God, it's so exciting. So powerful. But I want you to hear both of our takes on it. Anyway, my point of all of that is that it really is so important to have fun and to sometimes have, I guess, quote unquote, less of an intention. I personally am so grateful for the safe space that music festivals offer, electronic music festivals, I need to specify, because there are so many conscious people that show up there and they choose to do the work. And that's how we help heal the world. One intentional vibration raise at a time. And that's, wow, this all came full circle. That's exactly what I was talking about of that first note that I shared with you, right? maybe it's the second note, how we get to make other people feel important and we get to raise their vibration. And in doing so, we raise everyone's vibration, and it's a ripple effect. Oh my gosh, I love these moments when literally my entire system is just vibrating like on overdrive. And that's how I know that I'm in the essence that I'm supposed to be in. And I'm sharing from the absolute soul, from the depths of my heart. And that I feel like I can feel your energy listening to this, of how much this is resonating. And I feel like I'm a broken record, but I'm so grateful for this space. I'm so grateful we get to share this together, and I want to hear from you. Like if you're like, oh my God, wait, is she like talking to me right now? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because I can feel your energy right now. I get like tears to my eyes. Wow. Thank you for being here right now. And also thank you from you to you for holding this space for yourself. Because in you listening to this, it's very obvious that you want to grow. You're ready for that change. You're ready for whatever is next on your journey. And it's really fucking cool that you're here and you're allowing that to happen, that transformation. What I was just talking about having an intentional space for healing, that's this right now. You had the intention of listening to this episode for some reason, right? And through doing that, there's some sort of healing that's happening behind the scenes right now. You and me and everyone around you, we're all in this together. You are not ever fucking alone. Literally never. Like I said in the very first episode, feeling lonely, feeling isolated is not the same thing as being alone. You are not alone. You are never alone. Focus on raising your own vibration, even if it's 1% at a time, 0.5% at a time. Stand up, shake it out, or take a nice deep breath right now, or do a little twirl. Do something that feels silly. Make a silly face in the mirror. Pet your dog or cat. I'm a dog person. Take a sip of your coffee, cold water. Give yourself a nice big hug. Run your fingers through your hair. All of those things are like free, right? Teeny tiny little ways of raising your vibration one moment at a time. And every single quote unquote this moment, you get a new opportunity to raise your vibration. How fucking powerful is that? And then in doing so, like I said, that battery goes up, up, up. Wow, I did not think this was going to come full circle. I'm stoked about this. Oh yes, that's how you know it's good. That's how you know it's real. Okay, go find a way to raise your vibration right now. I challenge you, seriously. And then let me know when you do it. When you've risen to the challenge, even if it was like one tiny thing, celebrate yourself for doing that. Because you are responsible for the vibration raise of someone else around you, or maybe multiple people around you. It's fucking dope. It's fucking dope that we all get to do this together. Whew, okay. Until next time, keep shining, keep aligning, and remember, the universe always has your back. You are beautiful, you are special, you are never alone, and we'll talk next time.